Brian's house. I'm going to interview him for a couple hours. I think I got you right in the scope there, Jimmy.
Yeah, I'm struggling.
This is September the 14th, 1993. This is Jimmy Moore's 83rd birthday, and he's going to permit me to talk to him a little bit about his life and his experience playing pool. Jimmy, tell me about where you were born and when you were born.
I was born in Hogansville, Georgia, 1910, September 14th.
What'd your folks do?
My dad was an expert blacksmith, and we were farmers.
You picked a little cotton when you were a kid?
I picked cotton. They was paying 35 cents a 100 pounds if you could pick it. I picked 100 pounds a day. I got 35 cents.
How old were you then?
About 8.
8 years old. Tell me where you went to school and when you started playing pool.
Well, I got a nickel every Saturday to go to town to get some candy when I was living in Georgia. And then when I was 12, we moved to Detroit. My daddy was an expert blacksmith. He worked at Bud Wheel Body Plant. And then when the machines came in, he lost his job because he didn't need no blacksmith.
Yeah.
And I started there in the paper route. I done everything, paper route. And then I was setting pins in the bowling alley. And they had a pool hall there also. So I started monkeying around playing pool. And
what size table was it?
4.5 by 9.
4.5 by 9.
Yeah. And 6 months later, I won the Michigan Professional Tournament when I was 18.
Was there somebody showed you a little, picked it up on your own?
Played better players and picked it up.
What did you start playing in those days? What kind of games were they playing?
Straight pool.
Play straight pool.
Mostly straight pool. Banks.
They don't play much straight pool anymore. It's all this.
Well, they have one tournament a year, but it used to be all straight pool.
Right. That's a beautiful game. You started playing for a living when you were how old?
Well, let's see. When I was 18, I was gambling. Yeah, I had to gamble. I wouldn't play unless I had to bet something.
Yeah.
You know. And before I got 18, my daddy kicked me out of the pool, you know. And then going back to Georgia now, he was a chief of police of Newland, Georgia. That's a little above Hogansville, Georgia. Hogansville, Georgia on the route to Miami. 101, I believe it's the route here. And it was a lot of fun. And yeah, I won the Michigan State Tournament when I was 18. And I won it 10 years in a row, and then they quit putting the names down. When I got in, they put no names down because none of them could be.
Did you ever do what they call going on the road, where you just went out and tried?
Oh yeah, I hustled, sure I hustled.
How old were you when you started doing that?
About 21, 22.
Did you live on the road or just make a trip or two?
Well, you could live in that days. It's only rooms is only $2 a night then. Now, if you hustle on the road, you better have a little money because unless you've got a van, you sleep in the van. But in those days, they're very cheap.
Did you travel alone?
Yeah.
When you were on the road, you always went alone? I want to throw out some names. I want you to tell me great pool halls. What were some of the great pool halls you were in as you traveled around the country?
Well, I don't call them great pool halls. It's a billiard room, I call them, you know. They're all the same as a pool table. They look all the same to me. Of course,
nowadays they're clean and nice, but there's some that have a great history, like Palace Billiards in San Francisco. There's a lot of great players played there.
We played in downtown Bowl at Frisco. But I never did go to the Palace.
Walter Cochran had a room.
Well, he had a billiard room.
Right.
Some pool, too. And tell you about all that.
I want to hear a story. I want to hear that. That's what I want to hear.
Well, Joe Priscilla went to Cochran's billiard room one time. And his wife come in, right? And she was mad. And he was in the men's room. And you know, in the men's room, and his wife went in the men's room, started beating him over the head, and he was
taking a leak.
That was funny. And well, that was when was that? That was in 1952, I guess, something like that, 51, 52.
That was
Walker's place, yeah, Walker's place.
Did you know Walker? What kind of man was he?
Good billiard player.
I want to you know, Clay and I are addicted to billiards. I want to ask you what kind of experiences you had with any billiard players. Did you know Willie Hoppe?
Oh, sure. Well, the reason I knew Willie Hoppe, in 1949 we had a tournament in Chicago, straight pool tournament and a three cushion tournament at the same time, right? So every time I played, Willie Hoppe come over to my end of the table, sit there and watch. And one day he says, "Hey kid," I said, "Yes sir." He says, "I want you to learn to play billiards." I said, "It's too slow, I don't like it." He said, "Man, you could really be a player, you got an awful stroke."
Yeah.
And that's why I knew Willie Hoppe.
Was he a good guy? Was he nice?
Oh, yeah, he was a nice man.
Was he temperamental or?
No, nice, easygoing guy.
Was he? That's good to know.
Temperamental was Moscone.
Right. I'm going to ask you about Moscone. I want to get these billiard players out of the way. What about Jake Schaefer? Do you know him or his kid?
Very faintly, because he was attending bar in Cleveland. So there's a Don Willis, a very good player, never played in tournament, but a good player, and the world's champion ping pong player. And he weighed 250 and about 5'6", but he could play ping pong. His hands were so fast, and every time somebody asked him, "Where can I go play billiards?" he said, "Go to Cleveland, and the bartender will play you some." That was Jay Schaefer Jr. They couldn't beat him, you know. He always sent them somewhere they couldn't win.
What about Greenleaf? You ever spend any time around him?
Well, in 1941 in Detroit, they had a six-handed tournament, all ex-champions. And I was running 100 on a 5x10 at the time, and I wanted to get in that tournament. I was a hometown boy, you know. But they wouldn't let me in, said it's all for ex-champions. And that's when I seen Greenleaf. And I was a referee to start the game off. They hired me as a referee. So it's a 5x10 pool, 5 points. So Greenleaf says, "Hey Jimmy, go in the bathroom. Behind the toilet seat there's a bottle of whiskey. Give me about a glass full of it." I did. I went in and got him a glass full, give it to him. He just gulped it down. But what a player he was.
Yeah, he ran a lot of balls on a 5x10 too.
Oh yeah.
Strong player. But you knew Ralph Greenleaf. What about Ponzi, Andrew Ponzi?
Well, in Detroit, they called me the kid on the east side, down to Car Barnes pool room. And Ponzi, and they had the recreation downtown. They had 3 tables. I mean, three floors of pool, billiards, pool, and snooker. They had 3 floors of it. So I went down. I knew the guy that run in there. I said, "Is there a good player in town?" Ponzi came out to east side to hustle. He said, before he came out there, I asked this friend of mine, "Is a good player in town?" He says, "Yeah, the world champion. He just won the world champion, Andrew Ponzi." So he come out to the Car Barns on the east side. And he said, "Well, kid, you want to play some straight pool?" I said, "No." I knew who it was, you know. A little short, gray-headed guy. And I said, "I'll play some 9-ball." So we started playing 9-ball. It lasted about 40 minutes. He quit right away because he didn't play 9-ball. It's a different game than straight pool.
Sure.
And I had about $80 in my pocket. I said, "Now I'll play you a game of straight for 80. So we put up the 80, and I beat him 125 to 70. I said, "You bet 160. Well, it took him about 2 hours. He had 2 guys with him to make up their mind to bet 160. Well, he beat me 125 to 114. But that's the only thing I had to do with Ponzi.
Was he nice man?
Oh, yeah.
Good, good. One more billiard player I want to ask. Well, I want to ask you about a couple of them. There's an old man I met in Medford, Oregon, a couple of years ago, who was a great billiard player in those days. Always just missed on being a champion. His name was Jay Bozeman. Did you ever meet him?
He's a good player.
You bet he was.
Well, certainly I know him. And the best player I've seen was Jack Foraker from Detroit. He wouldn't get into tournaments. He had systems. He could hit no 3. He played me 3 or no count 3 cushions, and I couldn't beat him. But he was a terrific player. Jack Foraker.
Yeah.
Jay Bozeman was one of the tops.
when he was young, he was good.
Oh yeah, one of the tops, yeah.
He's pretty close to your age right now, and he still plays in the tournament every October up there in Medford, Oregon, at the Elks Club.
Is he still with it?
Yeah, he still is. Saw him last year.
He was a good player.
Yeah, he was. Did you know Alan Gilbert? The
left-handed player?
Yeah.
I know him, yeah.
He has a reputation
That he can. No doubt at all. Santana is up for Record of the Year, Album of the Year, Rock Album.
Handicap. They wouldn't give me a spot. But I played.
Did you beat him?
Huh?
Did you beat Gilbert?
No.
He's pretty tough, that dude. Before we go to pool players, Danny McGordy. Did you know Danny McGordy?
McGordy was an alcoholic.
Yes.
He won the tournament, but remarks from all the billiard players, it said it was a fluke. But he won it, so how could it be a fluke, you know?
Right.
But that's what they put out. They said it was a fluke. He's not that good a player. But I don't know. He was a drunk, I know that.
He died drunk, too.
Yeah.
Last billiard player who is not an American is Joe Chamaco. Did you ever run across him?
Now, I'll tell you a story about that.
Good.
We played at Naval Pier in 1949. Pool tournament. When I told you hockey sit by the table all the time.
Right.
Joe Chamaco. He broke his cue. So he needed the cue to play three cushions. They had three cushion tournaments at the same time. And he looked at everybody's cue and he said, come to me. And he finally I let him use my cue in the tournament. He picked my cue to use. That was about a Blushka. And that's how I know Joe. But he didn't win it. That Harold Worst won it by a point.
Did he break his cue accidentally, or was he mad?
I don't know. He just come around looking for cues. And he said, let me try yours, Jimmy. I said, okay. He said, can I use it? I said, go ahead.
We talked a little bit about billiard halls or pool halls or whatever, and there were some great ones, you know, years and years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And we mentioned Palace Billiards and Walter Cochran's place. Did you ever play up in Denver? Did you ever play Sarconi's or the arcade?
I played in Denver, but I don't play it. I don't remember playing.
Those were in the 50s.
I've played up there, but I don't know if it's Sarconi's or not.
Sarconi's isn't there anymore. It was the second story one downtown.
I played a Japanese boy.
Freddie.
Huh?
Freddie.
Yeah.
Calling Freddie the Jap.
Yeah. I played him 10 days, one pocket, and robbed him playing 9 ball and beat him one pocket 10 days.
Who else you play in Denver? Now that we're on pool, I wanted to ask you about
Colorado Springs. Grady Matthews would never play me nothing. And now he's supposed to be a professor at one pocket.
Yeah.
Well, it makes me laugh, you know.
They call him a genius.
It makes me laugh. We was in Long Beach, had played 9 ball, one pocket straight pool. And Grady was there, and Lassiter was there. And I'm sitting with Lassiter, and Grady come around, hey, Moore, play me 10 days, I play something for 100. I didn't know how, I only had $50. I said, I can't play it. So Lassiter punched me, he says, here's 300, play this son of a bitch. I said, come on, Grady, I'll play you something 10 days for 100. He said, I changed my mind.